Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Kata Studio. Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. So yeah, the time was ticking down and I was like, oh crap, I got to push a button right now. Dadgummit. I hate it when that happens. I really do. So we've got some stuff to talk about, y'all. We really do. The biggest scandal in our nation's history, in all honesty, is what we're going to be talking about the last segment-ish, you know. And hello, Linda, over there in Spreaker land. She says, hello from Vector and me. Awesome. Good to see you over there. And hello, Josh, over there in YouTube land. How you doing, sir? Good to see you both. And we're also going to be talking about quite possibly the biggest story right now, and that is the, what's going on down at the border between Texas and border security. Both of these things are pretty freaking huge. But before we get to all that, there's something I got to note. All right. I don't know if you're aware of this, but freedom of speech, freedom of press, those kind of things are definitely under attack today. They really are. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in depth in the last segment, but they very much are. I told you all how a couple weeks ago, I had another video that was removed from YouTube because they didn't like what I said. And that was Never Forget. That's what the title of the show was. And that was, September 11th back in 2021. A while ago. Why they waited over 2 years to, remove that video, I have no idea. And if they go back like that, it's only a matter of time before this show is removed from YouTube. It really is. It's only a matter of time. I say stuff. I speak my mind. I bring you truth. I bring the whole 9 yards. Okay. I actually was looking up and was curious about something. The actual definition of, a word. Y'all's know misinformation, y'all's know disinformation. I was kind of curious as to what malinformation, the actual definition of it was. To my surprise, what I thought was actually a little wrong. I was mostly right, well, half right. But according to what I researched, what I looked up, malinformation is truth but meant to do harm. So whenever I say things like wearing the masks didn't help, they were completely ineffective. Science points this out. but they want to call that misinformation, medical disinformation. They want to call it malinformation. It's true, but here's the thing: it's not hurtful. There's no point of. I mean, it's not hurtful at all. I mean, in all honesty, it's so not hurtful that it's beneficial to say that to people. You know, because long time mask wearing is not good. You know, it causes breathing problems. It causes face problems. It, you know, has a host of different problems, you know, not to mention, you know, improperly wearing them, wearing the same mask for too long. You know, you're wearing a mask like the cloth ones that don't do anything for nanoparticles that small. That's why it was totally unbeneficial. But you can't say that. Why not? Because it goes against the narrative they were trying to, you know, they had to set up. So, you know, keeping all that in mind, yeah, of course, because again, this show, it's only a matter of time before they get rid of me. Anytime they want to, they can do it. There's enough content out there that I have on the, you know, have out there in the ether over on YouTube that yes, they can cancel me, they can do away with me, and you know, there you go. That's why I'm wanting to push everybody over to YouTube, not YouTube. Get off of YouTube. I'm pushing everybody over to Rumble. They have changed things over on Rumble. They have made it so much easier to live stream over there. I mean, it's, you know, finally, you know, that's kind of one of the things I was waiting on was for them to, you know, make it easier for content creators to go live over there. And thankfully they did. I appreciate that. I really do. Very much. I appreciate that. Because you got to have a place, you know, you just got to, you know, and again, we will be talking more about some of that stuff later on because I do have some housekeeping that I want to tell y'all about, but we'll be doing that at the end of the show. Head on over to Rumble, subscribe, just search out the Ho Ho Show. You'll find it. It's relatively new. You know, it's only that channel has only been up for like 2 or 3 weeks now because I did take the old one down and unlinked it from YouTube, and now it's a whole new thing. So if you haven't subscribed over on Rumble, head on over there, check that out. You can follow the link down in the description below that link thehohoshow.com/Rumble. That does work now. I did get all that working again. Yay. Thehohoshow.com still is not working, so you kind of got to go that roundabout way of doing that again because, yeah, that's not quite working right. I haven't gone through all my DNS. Anyway, that doesn't matter. You guys don't care about that. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Let's do it because, guys, let me tell you what. Guys and gals, I've got notes. I've got notes for days. There's a lot of things we're going to be talking about and getting into today. Oh, check that out. And good stuff. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to go over, and we're doing that right now. So the biggest story right now is, you know, Texas. What's going on down there is in all honesty, it's pretty stinking big. All right. This is the heating up of the cold Civil War. That's more or less what this amounts to. Okay. And I consider this bigger than even the first Civil War. You know, because yes, we all know what that entailed. We all get it. We all know. And it was important. You know, getting rid of slavery was a good thing. I wish they didn't have to squash states' rights in order to do it because they didn't. But that aside, getting rid of slavery was an amazing thing. It was awesome. That was the right thing to do. But this is even bigger than that because unlike what happened with the first Civil War, this one, well, it's Texas that's actually standing up for the Constitution. Let's not forget that our form of government is unique. It's different. It's an experiment that, you know, it's an experiment that's been going on for 250-ish years. And the first time that there has been a document, a founding document like the Constitution that gave freedom to the people and put limitations on the power of the federal government, because that's what our Constitution did. Linda wrote over here, she says, my sister-in-law who was visiting informed me that many of the immigrants getting in are actually from China. What's up with that? Yeah, you're right. You know, I mean, that's one of the untold secrets about this whole thing is we literally have foreign nationals crossing the border. And not just from Mexico and Central America. You know, they're people are coming over from Afghanistan. People are coming over from, you know, Iraq. People are coming over from China. People are coming over from Pakistan. People are coming, well, technically Pakistan doesn't exist, neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? Foreign nationals coming across, and we know this. Man. But right now, what's going on down there? It's bad. Yeah. It's quite bad. But they're actually standing up for the Constitution, because that's the thing. I mean, like, part of the enumerated powers, as in this is the responsibility of the federal government, is to secure the border. It's to protect each and every state from an invasion. And that's what's going on down there. We're being invaded by every definition of the word, by the practical definition, by the actual definition, the legal definition of the word. We are being invaded on our southern border right now. And the federal government, they're not just not doing anything about it. They're not just perpetrating this whole thing. They're helping it along. I mean, they're not just letting them cross the border. They're giving them plane tickets. They're giving them bus passes. They're transporting them all across the interior. Why? We'll get into that a little bit more later. But they're perpetuating this entire thing. And they're doing it on purpose. They are. They're doing this on purpose. I mean, it's true. They're using our tax dollars, ignoring the law, ignoring immigration law, removing our sovereignty as a nation, letting these people cross the border, distributing them all across the nation. And yes, it's being done on purpose. And both sides are behind it. They really are. That's the dirty little secret right there. Both sides, as in, you know, politicians. All right, let me be clear on that. Politicians, both sides want this to happen. Both sides want it to happen. On the left, they want voters. They want voters. On the right, they want a cheaper workforce. I mean, they want the same thing on the left as far as a cheaper workforce, but they want, you know, they want to increase the labor force. That's what it amounts to. Not really a cheaper workforce. That's more or less the cheaper aspect. That's what they want on the left, but they want the workforce on the right. That's what they want. It's like, holy crap, people. Do you not understand what's going on? Okay. So here's the thing. What's going on down there in Texas? You have, and look, this entire show, a big, huge shout out goes to Dan Bongino, the Bongino Show. You know, big hat tip to them, because, you know, especially on what I'm going to be talking about in the next segment with the biggest scandal in American history. You know, this right here, there's some information in here that's like, oh, holy crap. Okay. And not a lot of people are talking about it. I mean, the Texas thing, yeah. Elsewhere, not really. Linda put in there, she says she actually knows of someone who was murdered by an MS-13 gang member who was on the not travel ban list, They got over here with an open door. Yeah. I mean, when you actually take into consideration what else coming across the border, what is happening from the southern border. I mean, you have sex trafficking, woman trafficking, child trafficking, drug trafficking, fentanyl. I mean, you look at everything of what's going on. 84 plus thousand children are missing that have crossed the border. We don't know where they are. We have no clue. Do they not care? Because you're not really hearing this information getting reported. Oh, by the way, Linda, how's the audio sound? I did bump everything up. I'm hoping everything sounds good. It looks good over there on the meter over there in Spreaker Studio. Let me know. You told me that it was not so good, last week. So I did try to do my best to fix that. I'm hoping that worked. But yeah, we got a lot going on the southern border, and nobody seems to care about it. Nobody's really talking about it, and it's holy crap. What does it take? How many missing children does it take before people start paying attention to what's going on? She says, sounds good, awesome, I appreciate it. What's it going to take before people start paying attention to what's going on? And one of the things that Bongino said, you have what's going on down in Texas. Okay, look, this is what happened. Over in Eagle Pass, all right, you had the Texas National Guard. Josh Paterno goes, I think that 20 or more states have sent their National Guard to take over the border. I haven't heard a number. Thank you for that, Josh. I haven't heard a number on that, but I have heard that people are sending their National Guard over there to assist and help them out. And of which case, that's huge. That's awesome. I wish President Trump goes down there. I hope he does. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he's scheduled. Hell, he might have, and I didn't hear about it. I don't know. But I hope he'd go down there. I put this thing on national news. That's what they need to do. Put this thing on national news, show everybody what's going on, and you know what? Maybe we can get something to happen. But here's the thing, though. Okay, you have, with what's going on down there, the Texas National Guard, they secured the border, and Dave over there in Facebook, how you doing, sir? He says, howdy do. Happy Saturday night from Dave Canyon and Dumbing It Down with Dave podcast. You're amazing, sir. You are. But you have, they went down to Eagle Pass. They secured the border. You have the razor wire that went up to keep people from crossing, the whole 9 yards. They are protecting their border. They are doing what they have to. Because here's the thing. If it was up to the federal government, one of the things they were talking about doing was basically, well, let's put it this way. This is what they told Governor Greg Abbott. I might be getting his name wrong. Governor Abbott. This is what the federal government told him. You can't stop them from coming in, and you can't get rid of them. If the federal government decides they want to, put them on a bus and send them elsewhere, then they can do that all they want to. But they told Greg Abbott that, no, you can't distribute them anywhere. Doing that, that's human trafficking. You can't do that. That's bad. When the Biden administration does it, oh, it's fine. No issues. They can do whatever the hell they want to, but whenever Greg Abbott does the same thing, because, hey, let's face it, New York, Illinois, California, sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, it's like they're fine. It's like they say that they want them there. They claim to be a sanctuary city. Why not take them in? What the problem is? That's what I'm kind of curious about. What the problem is? Why is Chicago complaining after being a sanctuary city? Why are they complaining about all the illegals that are showing up? And it's not all just Greg Abbott. It ain't all Ron DeSantis. Biden's been doing it too. So in comes Texas, saying, no, we're going to put a stop to this. This is ridiculous. We're done. Our sovereignty is unexistent if we can't defend our borders. This is the job of the federal government, and the federal government is knowingly and willingly refusing to uphold the law. That's part of the president's oath of office. Support and defend the Constitution, faithfully execute the laws of the land. He's not doing that. Texas is being forced to do it for themselves. That's what it amounts to. Texas is being forced to do it for them. Biden administration says, we don't like this. You got to stop doing that. You can't be defending the border. One, that's our job. Two, we're not going to do it. Doesn't even matter. You have unstoppable force, immovable object, hat tip Dan Bongino. That's what you got going on right now. Border security showed up. It's like, you're going to let us in. And Texas said, no, we're not. This is our area. We got this. We don't need your help. We don't want your help. We don't want your assistance. Because let's be clear. They've talked about, increasing the border security. But here's the thing. They're not doing that to stop and send them back. That's not what they're doing. They're catching them if they catch them, and then they're releasing them into the interior with free stuff and a promise that they'll probably break of, hey, we'll be back in our court date in 2 years or whatever. And that's an if they show up. And if they don't, it doesn't matter. They don't enforce it anyway. Doesn't even matter. But that's what border security is doing. It's catch and release into the border. And Texas is like, no. If we're going to do this, we're going to stop them. We're going to catch them, and we're going to send them the F back home. That's what they're doing. Don't like that. And then you had that story that I believe we talked about last week with the 3 immigrants that drowned, and that they're claiming that they could have gotten in there to do that if Texas hadn't have stopped them from coming in. And the problem with that narrative is it's completely false. The press secretary was doing it. Other news organizations were doing it. They were all saying the same stinking thing. They were saying, Texas stopped them from coming in. That's why we had these, 3 people that drowned. And in which case, like I said, that entire story was false. It didn't actually happen. Border Patrol didn't find out about it until an hour after the fact. By then, guess what? It was too late. Josh put in there, goes, they are all committing treason and should have been arrested a long time ago. Not arguing that one. In fact, I completely agree with it. Linda put in here, she said, instead of a barbed wire fence, how about a giant slingshot? That is awesome. That's a good one. I like your thinking, Linda. I really do. A giant freaking slingshot. Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. But it's a false narrative, and they're doing that in order to, they're trying to control the narrative, exactly, because they're trying to tell you that, Border Patrol good, and Texas National Guard, Texas in general, bad. They're trying to control the narrative. That's what this whole thing's about. They're trying to control the narrative. Dave puts in there, goes, Linda is funny. Nice Monty Python reference. Oh, that's a Monty Python reference. It's been a while since I've seen Monty Python. They got some good stuff, though. I enjoy them. I really do. But yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. So that's what we're looking at over in Texas. But it gets worse, okay? I told you that what Greg Abbott is doing is, well, it's something that he constitutionally has the right to do. It is. I forget the article and section and whatnot, but it is in there. You know, not only in the U.S. Constitution, this is also part of their own Constitution that, yes, they have the right to defend their sovereignty. All right. And in the U.S. Constitution with Article, where is that? Where you at? Article 4, Section 4, that the federal government literally has the responsibility to protect each and every state against an invasion. Are they doing that? You tell me. Do you think they're protecting us from an invasion? How many has actually come across the border? More than what they'll ever tell you. I mean, that's the fact of the matter is. Like what? They're telling us like 10 million or whatever. It's not that. It's way higher than what they're ever going to admit to. Let's just be honest about it. It's way higher than that. And the SCOTUS, okay, now this is the thing. I got to admit, this was something I was pretty ticked off about. All right. This was something I was pretty ticked off about because this case is going before the Supreme Court. All right. And upon hearing this case, or not actually hearing the case, getting presented with the case as there'll be proceedings after the fact. But the Supreme Court basically told Florida that you got to remove the razor wire. You got to remove the razor wire. You can't leave it up. You can't do that. You have to, basically allow the invasion to continue. And I was extremely disappointed on this one. I really was. I ain't going to lie to you. I was extremely disappointed on this. It's like, dude, Governor Greg Abbott has the Constitution on his side. Article 4, Section 4, the federal government is supposed to protect each and every state against invasion. They are not doing that. That means that Texas has the right to do that in their stead, and of which case the Supreme Court told Texas, you can't defend the border. Let the invasion commence. That's ridiculous. That really is. That's ridiculous. I can't even read my own writing on that one. Holy crap. Here I am trying to read that, and I just, wow. I can't, nope. When asked about this, here's a couple things I do remember that evidently I can't read that note. I don't remember who it was, but he was interviewed and he was asked, are you going to adhere to the Supreme Court's ruling? And, this is one of the things that was kind of cracked me up on that. It's like, he said yes, but at the same time, he also voiced that he's going to follow the process, the court process, and of which case the process isn't over yet because they haven't actually heard the case. And they are going to defend their sovereignty. And it's like, Now, there are people out there that are, this is really, really bad. With a lot of the people cheering Texas on, that this is just, it's something that the left is completely like, ooh, we want this to happen like this because we got some ideas on how we can twist this into being really, really bad for the country. And that's one of the things that's going on right now. But again, like I had said previously, that type of an argument doesn't make sense because, again, you have the federal government that is obviously violating the Constitution. You have Texas that is defending their own sovereignty. Oh, hey, that reminds me. I got a notification. I don't even know what that notification was, but I forgot to mute my stinking phone. There we go. It's muted. Ta-da! But you have Governor Greg Abbott saying, defending their sovereignty, holding the federal government accountable to the invasion, what's going on. It's like, this isn't, it's not, it's more complicated than that. And that's more or less what it means. It's more complicated than that because they're defending the Constitution. They're standing up to the Constitution. This isn't a roundabout kind of a thing. They are enforcing the law because that's something that the president is refusing to do, enforce the law. It's a little bit more difficult than that. I mean, if it was something that was a little more, or I guess I should say a lot more nuanced, then okay, I can see where there might be some things in here, but this is so clear cut, it's not even funny. That's what I'm saying. This is so clear cut, it's not even funny. I don't necessarily see, or what? No. I can't say that. I can't say that. I was going to say that I don't see how the left could spin this in a way in the future that would be that would really make us hesitant over these whole proceedings. But wait a second, we're talking about the left here. Of course, the left can spin this in so many different ways that of course it would be bad. But again, you have a refusal to adhere to the law, defend the Constitution, and you have somebody whom is enforcing the law, enforcing the Constitution, and yet the person that is doing the right thing is the one who is getting shut down by the Supreme Court. Can you tell me how that makes any sense whatsoever? Doesn't make any sense to me. But here's what it amounts to. All right. You guys know about that whole replacement theory? You guys ever heard of that? The great replacement theory, just the replacement theory in general. That isn't a theory. That's a fact. One of the things they've been talking about is the whole, demographics is destiny. It's one of the things that you hear getting spoken of a lot. Demographics is destiny. That's something that, they don't call it replacement theory. They call it demographics is destiny. That's also part of the reason why during the 2020 census, they wanted to count everybody, illegals including. Because demographics is destiny. Now, look, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. I'm somebody that I could care less. Linda put in here, she goes, illegals can get driver's licenses. She told me also, and that yeah, okay, all right. Told me, and that is all. Stop, rewind. Illegals can get driver's licenses, she told me also. And that is all they need to be able to vote. In a lot of places, yeah. Like I know here in Illinois, whenever you get your driver's license, it's hey, do you want to go ahead and register to vote? That's part of the process. It's there. I know illegals are voting in Illinois, which is a complete crock. It really is. They want to say how, they protect our sovereignty. They want to eliminate foreign nationals having influence over our election. Wait a second. What do you call this? Foreign country interfering in our election. That's what happens when you allow people whom are illegal to vote. They don't have any constitutional right to vote. The Constitution protects the citizen, not the non-citizen. Yeah, Josh put in there, goes, and apparently become police in Illinois. Yeah, exactly. Governor Pritzker allowing illegals to become police. Here you are supposed to enforce the law, but you're breaking the law. Here's the thing, all right? I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. All right. I have an issue with authority. I do. Big shocker, right? I have an issue with authority. Don't get me wrong. I get along with cops. I know several of them. You know, throughout my youth, I had run-ins with a lot of them. You know, I did. You know, it's not that I was overly a troublemaker. It was, you know, I drove a hoopty. Whenever I was 16 and 17, I had a car that, you know, one headlight would go out and I'd fix that one and then the other one went out. So I got pulled over all the freaking time. I had a rule that I couldn't go home until I'd been pulled over at least once. I got to know them all. Every last one of them. You know, I mean, I could have the woo behind me and then I could just reach over my passenger seat, grab my headlight, roll down the window, hold it out, and then they'd shut the lights out and let me go on my way. It was great. Yes, that happened numerous times, just like that. So I had run-ins with cops. I have no problem with them. Don't get me wrong. I respect what they do. You know, that they are necessary in a lot of different ways. I have no problem with our boys in blue. I support our boys in blue. But in general, I have an issue with authority. And the reason is, when it comes to police officers, when it comes to representatives, the president of the United States of America, like Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, you know, the first family, whenever it comes to lawmakers in general, whenever it comes to, you know, anybody of authority, whether that be, you know, the dog catcher, whether that be anybody, whether that be management, whether that be whatever. Okay, here's the thing. You are not, I repeat, you are not the exception to the rule. You are the example of it. Period. End of story. If you're a police officer, you're not exempt from the law. You're an example from it. That means you need to be doing it cleaner and better than everybody else. Otherwise, how the hell can you hold me accountable for something that you're not willing to uphold to in the first place? How can you do that? So having these, you know, Illinois police officers that they're going to let be illegal aliens, that's ridiculous to me. You're the example. You're not the exemption. You can't come at me claiming I am a lawbreaker as a lawbreaker. It doesn't work like that. You want to get people pissed off at the system. You want to cause fights in the street. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is why we can't have nice things. This is how you get ants. You want ants? This is how you get them. Okay, I thought I almost hit the really, really wrong button. Holy crap, that would have been bad. Yeah. This ticks me off to no end. I'm just going to be honest with you. This ticks me off to absolutely no end. But here's the thing. This is an aspect of the great replacement theory. Because, okay, let's break this down to votes, the election, the whole 9 yards. What does the left need in order to win an election? Votes. They have been losing votes amongst minorities, you know, Asians, Mexicans, you know, the black, everybody. They've been losing the minority vote. They've been losing working class American vote. They've been losing everything. Why? Because the Democrat Party doesn't give two shits about you. Period. In the story, they don't. The fix is in. What has the Democrat Party done for you lately? What have they given to you lately? Well, let's see. Higher taxes, higher gas prices, higher food prices, huge inflation, huge national debt, unsecure border, high health care, you know, because they're wanting to take control of everything. And, you know, that's something we may talk about at a later date as far as some of the things they're wanting to take control of. Holy crap. But that's what they've been giving you. Anything of value? No. It's bad. People are starting to wake up, and finally, about damn time, they're finally starting to wake up to the fact that they don't care about you at all. That's more or less what it amounts to. They don't care about you. The fix is in. People are finally starting to really figure it out. I mean, let's face it, the Democrat Party, they tried to change too many things all at the same time, and it kind of backfired on them. That's, more or less, in essence, that's what it amounts to. That's what it amounts to. What do they need in order to win? They need votes. They've been losing voters. Not only that, because it gets worse. See, people in these, really blue states, well, they're leaving because they're figuring out that the grass is greener on the other side. I mean, holy crap, man. I mean, I'm not rich. I don't have money by any stretch of the imagination. But I hear things from rich people, and one of the things that I have heard is you do not want to die in New York, New York City specifically, because, the whole death tax and everything else. I mean, they tax you 20 different ways from Sunday, and they tax you so many times it's not even funny, because there's tax upon tax upon tax. If you live out in New York, if you live in New York City, you know what I'm talking about. California is really starting to get as bad. Illinois is thankfully people have woke up to the fact, because here's the thing. Like here in Illinois, yes, we are a red state, but we're blue in a couple counties that matter, which is, why we have, Pritzker as the governor, and those different things. But here's the thing, though. We have, in Illinois, we don't have a progressive tax, a progressive income tax in Illinois. We actually have a flat tax in Illinois. That's what we have, because we were always blue. We used to be a red state, as in, all of it, as in we voted red. We used to. And whenever our state was founded, it was founded as a flat tax state. And they tried to, and I remember this, because this is something that actually went on the ballots back in, Josh, help me out on this. Was that something that was on the ballot back in 2020? Or was that before then that they put that on the ballot here in Illinois? Because they tried to change it from a flat tax to a graduated income tax. That's what they tried to do. A progressive income tax. They tried to do it. Didn't pass. It didn't go through. Because there's enough people that know better that it didn't happen. I'm wanting to say that was 2020. I don't completely remember. Forgive me. I apologize. I don't remember. But I'm wanting to say that was back in 2020. It was pretty recent. But people are leaving these Democrat states, and they're going over to Republican-controlled states, Republican-run states. There's a migration going on. But the problem is with this type of migration, and this is why they fought, as in, the Census Bureau and President Donald Trump back in 2020. This is why they fought this a lot. Josh says you can't remember. That's okay. I don't remember either. It wasn't that long ago. I remember that. But that's why this huge fight was going on, back in 2020 between President Trump and the Census Bureau, because the Census Bureau wanted to count everybody in the census. And President Trump is like, no, this census thing, it's about, legal citizens. This isn't about residency. And the Census Bureau is like, oh, no. This is absolutely about residency, because this is about resources. And in order to properly distribute resources amongst the community, we have to know how many residents are here. Doesn't matter about citizenship. Linda put in here, she goes, almost half of Oregon wants to be in Idaho under the Great Idaho Plan. Everybody in Illinois in the main state of Illinois wants to put a line at I-80 and get rid of everything north. They want to split the state, North and South Illinois. Absolutely, we want to do that. It'll never happen because that'll gain a seat, that'll gain some seats for Republicans in the Senate and in, House of Representatives. It'll never happen. It'd be nice. Boy, howdy, would it be nice. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, good times, right? Yeah. They're losing votes, and they are distributing the illegals around in order to make sure that they don't lose seats in these red states, so that this way they don't lose representation, which if they lose representation and they shift from blue states to red states, that also means that they would have less power in the Electoral College in order to pick a president. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? Is it registering with you? Do you see why they're doing what they're doing? And they're letting it go on. Just saying. They're letting it happen. Absolutely, yes, they are. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When I return, we are going to be talking about the biggest freaking scandal in American history. That's what we're going to be talking about. And when I say this is the biggest freaking scandal, this is bigger than everything. This is bigger than Watergate. This is bigger than Blue Dress Gate. This is bigger than all of it. This is huge because the implications for this, this is huge. Linda Padena goes, read about Greater Idaho Initiative here, Greater Idaho. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. The biggest scandal in U.S. history. How do you know it's the biggest scandal? Because they're not really talking about it. Outside of here and a few others, hat tip to Dan Bongino, people aren't really talking about it. Even over on satellite radio, you're not hearing about this. They're not talking about it. They're not laying it out. They're not telling you truly what's going on. And it's like, holy crap. This is something I talked about like a while ago. I talked about it a while ago. But even I at the time did not like, yes, something fishy is going on here, but I didn't do I didn't do the thought exercise as to just how big this truly was. So yeah, we'll get into that right after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs. And we are back. That's right. Tampons brand butt plugs. Get them in stores today. Now available. Gotta love them. I love those ridiculous. I love them. They crack me up. They bring a smile to my face, which is something you need whenever you're going to be talking about this next topic today. The biggest scandal in American history. Holy crap. We are talking about the January 6th pipe bomb because there are so many questions, so little answers. I mean, the answers on this is like basically non-existent. Let's be honest. We're not getting answers. Oh, we're asking the questions, but we're not getting answers on this at all. Holy crap. And again, this goes out to Dan Bongino. Hat tip to him. Absolutely. Because this is something that he's been talking about over the past week. Like 3 or 4 shows from last week and then Friday of the week before that. He's been talking about this. He's been on it. He has connections in there that I don't have. Questions that has been asked. Stuff that he's been getting from, people in the know, in the community. He knows what he's talking about on this. Holy crap. But we're going to go over a bunch of this, give you some information, kind of boil all this down and give you the crux of the information because, okay, look, there's only a few different outlooks you can have on this. And none of them are good. None of them paint a really good picture. And there's still a lot of questions as in, why this? Why that? There's things in here that are so fishy. And some of it, it's like, okay, if it was one thing, coincidence. 2 things, it's a little less believable on the coincidence thing. 3 or more items, that this isn't a coincidence, that this is more of a pattern. You're hiding something. Okay, now before I get too deep into this, I want to remind you about something. Okay, look, I'm all about freedom. Yes, I am. That's why defending the Constitution, that's the monicum of, or moniker, however you say that, that's the monocle, the one-eye glasses thing. That's the monocle of this show. Defending the Constitution. I'm all about freedom. I'm all about the Constitution. Absolutely, yes, I am. All right? I'm all about that. So I was absolutely against, the whole prohibition thing, okay? But before you say, whenever we talk about this next subject, before you say that would never happen. How could they possibly get away with that? That our federal government wouldn't do that? That's inconceivable. We're talking about a government that now the people may have changed, but the mindset has not, okay? Our federal government, they've experimented on people against their will, unknowingly. This information is public. You can view it yourself, around World War II and other times in history that they did this. They've killed people. During Prohibition, they acquired alcohol. They poisoned said alcohol. And then they redistributed said alcohol, knowingly that they were going to kill people. That's your federal government. Don't trust them as far as you can throw them, because for them, it's all about control. It's all about power. That's why in my chosen career, I am governed by the federal government. I'm governed, Department of Transportation, by the executive branch. It's unconstitutional, but I am. My entire life is lived on a logbook page. They're all about control. Our federal government has killed people. So don't think that this is outside the purview of what our federal government would do today. They were never held accountable then, and they're not held accountable now. Because even though there are people out there that are aware, it doesn't seem as though there's enough people that are, let's just say, pissed off about it. Not enough people in the know that there isn't enough people. And we'll talk about this like after, because the left is scared. They really are. They have, yeah. So don't say that this is outside the purview of what our government would do, because it isn't. The biggest scandal in history, bigger than anything we've ever seen. All right? I'm not overselling this. Maybe I am. No, I'm not. I'm not overselling this at all. Because there's a lot of questions to be asked regarding the pipe bomb. Actually, 2 pipe bombs, because there was a pipe bomb that was found outside the RNC, and then there was a pipe bomb that was found outside the DNC. Okay? Now, one, Kamala Harris was there at the DNC during the time that this pipe bomb was found. Okay? One of the big questions is, why was she there? Why was Kamala Harris at the DNC? Why was she? Because this pipe bomb was found 20 minutes before the certification process for her to officially become the vice president-elect. This is the biggest moment of her life. Her entire political career has gone up to this moment. She is a senator, and she's not in the Capitol at the location to witness her official being the candidate-elect as vice president. Why was she at the DNC? Why did they hide that she was on the DC in the DNC? Because we didn't even find out where she was at until November of 2021. And that's a long time after the fact for us to finally be made aware of where she was at. So why was she at the DNC? Now, look, this pipe bomb was found. Again, it was found at like, either it was noon 40 or it was 1:40. I don't remember which. I think it was noon 40. And I think the certification process started at 1. I could be wrong on my time ever so slightly, but either way you look at it, it was found 20 minutes before, the actual start of the certification process. Okay. It was supposedly left the night before. I think it was there for like 5 hours, or no, not 5 hours, like 17 hours is when it was supposedly left there 17 hours ago. Now, here's the thing. Okay. They have a video of the person that left it. Okay. It has been, the footage was was handed over, or at least most of the footage was handed over, and what was handed over was obviously tampered with. This has been officially proven. They know that it was tampered with because what was released and given was, the quality was below the industry standard. This is in the most surveilled city in the entire nation. So, yes, this was below industry standard. They know for a fact that it was tampered with, that the video that was released was tampered with. They know this. Okay? They have multiple angles, and we know this. Again, inside people are like, because they see this this camera that has pan, tilt, zoom functionality, that there was multiple camera angles for this same location. We know this. They have video surveillance of the person dropping the device. You can see that he was making a text message, or appearing that he was on his phone. Where's this evidence? Surrounding January 6th, the FBI, the government, we'll get into that later. So this device was dropped the night before. They estimate that it was dropped 17 hours prior to when it was discovered. Where's the video surveillance? Why was it altered? What are they hiding? Why was Kamala Harris at the DNC during that time? Why wasn't she at the Capitol building? It makes no sense why she was. Why did they keep this whole thing basically quiet? Because, Kamala Harris, whenever she tweeted later on that day, there was no mention of this bomb. No mention that there was an assassination attempt on her life. No mention of that whatsoever. It was as if it didn't happen. That's how it was treated, like it didn't happen. So she was there. She went in. The bomb was dropped off the prior night. Secret Service would have done a security sweep of the area. Why did they not see the bomb? Why did bomb sniffing dogs not detect the bomb before Kamala Harris went in? And evidently, the individual who found the bomb, and we found out later on that this individual was, a plainclothes officer. Or we found out later that he was an officer, plainclothes, but he was never questioned. I believe it was a Capital City police officer that, he was never questioned. Never interrogated. And that whole encounter, and you can watch the video of it, the whole thing just kind of looked fishy. We, one of the big questions in here is, where's all the audio traffic from that day? It's never been released. Where is the communications between the FBI and the Secret Service? The Secret Service took this thing seriously because they called out, they called for a bomb robot to deactivate the device. They believed it was real, but that never actually ended up happening. It wasn't Never mind. The bomb was only mentioned, during the January 6th report. Okay. The bomb was only mentioned in the appendix, but it wasn't actually mentioned in the report. Why not? This was an assassination attempt on Kamala Harris. Why would they not have mentioned it in the January 6th report? Because evidently some right-wing extremist just, made an assassination attempt against Kamala Harris, but this is so important, so newsworthy that nobody talked about it. Kamala Harris never remembered it. We weren't notified until almost a year after the fact, and it was only mentioned in the January 6th report in the appendix. Like it was a non-issue. It was an afterthought that we're going to bring this up. It's not even worthy of note, or barely worthy of note. Why? Why not? That makes no sense. Let's see. Yeah. So I talked about before that we have, on surveillance, we have the suspected individual who dropped off the bomb, who placed the bomb, that he was on video texting. We know that the FBI used geofencing data to get the information on people on and around January 6th. Where's that information? Where's that geofencing data? Where's that metadata? Well, they did get it, but unfortunately it was corrupted. Oh, gee, it was corrupted. We have no idea how this happened. We don't know why this happened. This is completely weird. This has never happened before. This is weird. But don't worry. I mean, this kind of thing, I mean, it's so rare that, I mean, it's unbelievable how this would happen now. I mean, we don't want anybody to have any conspiracy theories, like we're doing this on purpose, but, yeah. The metadata was conveniently corrupted. There was, now this whole thing is laughable. Okay. This whole thing was laughable. They were trying to get a hold of text messages, the text messages between the FBI and the DNC, or in the Secret Service. All right. They lost a great deal of those text messages. They were deleted. But it was an accident. You see, on, around January 6th, apparently somebody in the FBI or the Secret Service believed that it would be a good idea to do what's that word? Oh, where is that word? Yeah, there it is. The National Archive. That's who it was. The National Archive asked Secret Service to, they wanted to get the deleted text that was sent around January 6th. And they were like, that they were all deleted, and they claimed that it was part of a device replacement program that they decided to do around January 6th. And in which case, okay, look, even if that is true, nobody in their right mind is going to be so stupid as to do that in such a crucial and critical point. You don't do that. You just don't. That's asinine. That's worse than asinine. It's asinine. You ain't going to do that. It's ridiculous. Okay? But that's what they're claiming, that, this was lost due to a device replacement program. That's why this happened. Oh, this wasn't done on purpose. And, they're claiming that the lost, the stuff that was lost was, text messages regarding the evacuation of Vice President Pence, and of which case that, so that doesn't make any sense either. Okay, look, here's the thing whenever it comes to government, you don't hide great. You don't do that. You don't hide good things. You don't hide great. You don't do that. You hide mistakes. You hide FUBARs. You hide snafus. You don't hide greatness. Okay? So them evacuating Pence, well, that's part of their job. You're not going to hide that. There's no reason to hide that. So what were they hiding? What were they doing? Why did they not tell us about Kamala Harris being at the DNC during the time that the pipe bomb was found? Why did the security sweep of the area done by the Secret Service, why did they not discover it? Why did bomb sniffing dogs not discover the device? Why did the metadata get corrupt? Where's the radio chatter between the FBI and the Secret Service and the person that was at the controls of the camera whenever they zoomed in and maneuvered so that this way they can get a better look at the device whenever it was reported that they had it? All these questions have yet to be answered. All of them. Interesting stuff, right? A lot of questions that need to be asked and has yet to be answered. I mean, we get treated as idiots for even asking these type of questions, And again, a lot of this information is Dan Bongino, hat tip Dan Bongino. I can't give him enough credit for this because, he's a man in the know. He has connections. But not many people are talking about this. Not many people are talking about this. Okay. Here's another thing that kind of ties into this. There is a federal security agency, CISA. And one of the things that they talked about prior to the election, 2020 election, was that COVID would not interfere with voting, with in-person voting. Okay, that it wouldn't put people's lives, their health at risk, not at all. Okay. They also stated that with mail-in ballots, that's a bad thing. It's wrought with fraud. Okay, it's not secure. And that, mail-in ballots are questioned. The validity of the votes are questioned like twice as much as in-person voting. They knew this going into it. They reported on this. However, that information was squashed almost immediately, and it was labeled as misinformation coming from a federal security agency. It's almost as if they know. Back in 2012, the New York Times, they talked about this very same thing, that mail-in voting is bad because you have, because of chain of custody, signature verification, if it's supposed to be one person, one vote, you can't verify that if you don't do certain security things in place, and of which case there's a problem, fraud, it's a risk. You shouldn't do it. And that's the New York Times back in 2012. Here's the dirty little secret. The most likely scenario of this pipe bomb, January 6th, 2021. This was a plan B. This was their plan B just in case the riot didn't go violent. Because they've tried to paint Republicans with that type of a brush before, and it didn't work out for them. It didn't work out for them at all. And they really, they weren't putting all their eggs in that basket because it had failed miserably in the past. So they wasn't putting all their eggs in that basket. They had, it has come out that the FBI had like over 200 assets in the crowd during January 6th. We know for a fact who some of them are, because whenever you have this guy that only gets like 100 hours of community service for being an agitator, and you have a guy who wasn't even there that got sentenced to 20 years in prison, that doesn't balance out like at all. I mean, in what world does that make sense? We're going to give an agitator, an admitted agitator, 100 days of community service, and a guy who wasn't there, a guy who was nowhere near the Capitol, a guy who none of his text messages and messages in general, any of his correspondence even talks about anything violent. He's not asking for violence. He's not promoting violence. Again, he wasn't there, and he was given 20 years. The prosecutor even admits that he did nothing wrong. He said this during court, that he didn't do anything wrong. But we don't like him, so we're going to throw him in jail and then put him in jail for 20 years. How does that make sense? The FBI had over 200 assets in the crowd because they didn't know they didn't know if their agitators were actually going to be able to pull it off and get the job done. And so they had a plan B. An assassination attempt on Kamala Harris. They ended up not needing it, and so they tried to bury it. The information has come out. None of this makes any sense whatsoever. And they did this, and here's the crux of all this. They did this because there was no reason to shut down the country. There was no reason to force mail-in ballots. There was no reason why people couldn't have gone to the ballot box and voted. Federal Security Agency even acknowledges it. They acknowledge that, hey, mail-in ballots is a bad idea because of the fraud. They don't want to talk about that. And hello over there in YouTube. Said, evening, ho-ho. Hello. There was fraud regarding the 2020 elections. What did the riot do? What would have this pipe bomb done? What would it have accomplished? Well, here's the thing that they didn't want to happen at all costs. The left did not want the validity of the mail-in ballots to be questioned. There was a lot of shenanigans. You can head on over to, my Substack. You can head on over to my Medium page. There is an article in there talking about the 5 states, and there's all kinds of shenanigans that's in there. Stuff that we knew in November later the same month after the election. There was shenanigans that happened, and we knew this. They did not want the validity of the mail-in ballots to be questioned. And the riot and this pipe bomb would have accomplished that. The riot did accomplish that. They never questioned the validity of the votes. In fact, the audit has never been done. The validity has never been questioned in court, and they did not want to. They were not going to allow for this stuff to be aired in front of everybody on, television. They wasn't going to allow it. They were not going to allow the vote to be questioned. That's what the riots accomplished. That's what this pipe bomb plot would have accomplished. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? They stole the election. Do you hear me? They stole the election. And before you say, oh, it's seen its day in court, really? I've explained this in the past. If I say that, hey, I'm going to sell you this. I'm going to sell you this pen. Check. I'm going to sell you this pen for $100, okay? And you give me, okay, don't mind my fingers. I got done airbrushing something earlier, so I didn't get the paint off of me. It's so my finger is blue. The pen is black. My finger is blue. It is not red. The finger's blue. Anyway. We'll be lucky if there's another election allowed to happen. I have no faith in anything legal anymore. You are not kidding. You ain't kidding. But if I sell this pen to you for $100 and you give me a piece of paper, in quotation marks, a piece of paper, it's cotton paper blend, but at any rate, if you give me a picture with Grant's face on it, that's a $50 bill. And you give me a $50 bill of a, with a picture of a guy in a top hat and a monocle, and you call that a $50 bill, even though it's monopoly money, it's still $100. It's still $100, right? You can ask for a recount, and all I'm counting is whether there's $100 there. But what the audit does is validate the bills, make sure that none of it is fraudulent, as in phony money, and that's how you determine whether it is a free and clear election, right? That's never been done. It's never been done in court. There was a recount. Yeah, there's $50 monopoly money, which didn't even come into, wasn't even questioned. $50 in legal tender. And, but that's still $100. There you go. You got your $100. There's your recount. What more do you want? They never audited the vote. They never audited the mail-in elections. They never validated anything. They didn't do shit. The court refused to do it. All they said was, we're not focusing on that. Let's focus on the recount. Of course, you got these fraudulent votes. You're still going to count them, right? Yeah, but you're not auditing the system. You're not auditing the votes. You have signature verification. You have chain of custody forms. A lot of that shit was missing. You had 5 states at the exact same time shut down counting, one of which was due to a busted water main. You had all of the poll watchers that got sent home. In the meantime, everybody else stuck around. And then once all the poll watchers were gone, magically boxes and boxes of ballots showed up. And then in the morning, who's the winner by just enough votes that it goes beyond and is above the, what's that word I'm looking for? Reasonable margin. All of a sudden, and then in every one of these states that Trump was in the lead, and then next thing you know, these magical ballots appear. They came from Oz, and then Trump Trump is now behind it and Biden is now winning above the margin of, what the fuck ever. That happened in 5 states at the exact same time. Nothing fishy going on, though. I mean, there's nothing to see here. There's no reason to audit the votes. It never seen its day in court. They refused to even hear it. They said, no, we're not dealing with that. At the most, we'll do a recount. We're not auditing the entire system. It's going to take too long. We ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Sweet Mama Brown was right. Ain't nobody got time for that. Now, here's another problem. Now, again, do you see why I say that this is the biggest scandal in American history? The biggest? I hope you're paying attention. I really do. I hope you're paying attention. At the moment, these people are terrified. They're terrified of Trump. Okay? Because this election will be the first time in American history that the left did not control the narrative. I mean, think about it. Who controls the flow of information? Well, prior to just recently, it was the left. It was mainstream media. Social media. Who controlled social media? The left. Who controls mainstream media? The left. The left was in control of the narrative. If they didn't want you to know about it, it didn't make its way to national news and nobody knew. Now, freedom of speech is in grave peril. Freedom of press is in grave peril. Now, look, this is the first time I'm actually going to reference my, the magazine over on Flipboard, which is my go-to hub for news. But you can you can't head on over to thehohoshow.com. That right now is not working. However, you can go to hohostudios.com, click on the Ho Ho Show little button up there, and then go to newsfeed button, and then you'll see my magazine over on Flipboard. But there's this story right here from, this is actually from Substack. Let me go ahead and pull up that article now. This is from Public. There we go. With revenues declining, corporate media demand Substack censorship. Here's the thing, people. I want you to think about this. I want you to be aware of this. The first time in history with a presidential election that the left did not have, they weren't the sole gatekeepers of information. The left controls YouTube. They control Facebook. That's why they censor. That's why they restrict. That's why even now social media, if Facebook is limiting exposure of news because they want to control the message. With these up and coming platforms like Substack, like Rumble, with these up-and-comers, they are no longer in control of information. They are no longer the gatekeeper, and they don't like it. They're freaking terrified because the amount of cheating, the amount of everything that they had to do to get their man into office this time around, what are they going to have to do next time around? Isn't that the real question about all this? Yes, this pipe bomb from January 6th, 2021, the biggest scandal in U.S. history. The absolute biggest, no doubt, no question. It's the biggest thing. The biggest scandal. That's what they had to do to get their man put in place last time. What are they going to be willing to do this time? What are they going to be willing to do? The left has already told us that there will be violence in the streets, not just riots, violence. You thought what happened after Floyd's death was bad? You thought the Summer of Love was bad? You thought the Chaz and Chop zones were bad? Just wait. It's about to get worse, people. Stay frosty. Stay ready. Be prepared and be ready to protect yourself. They're already telling us what they are going to do. Believe them, please. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. If you think they're going to help you, you're wrong. They don't care. They don't care about law and order anymore. The Constitution is effectively dead. We are a state without borders. We no longer have the sovereignty to protect our own borders. And the Supreme Court agrees with this. If that's what they were willing to do last time around, what are they going to be able to get away with this time? Stay frosty, stay ready, stay prepared. I don't say that lightly. I really don't. Look at what's going on down in Texas. Holy crap. Are you kidding me? Wow. I mean, I think that says it all, doesn't it? Exactly. That being the case, we should prepare to defend ourselves as such. And gee, isn't it weird how in the great state of California, I say that with vomit in my mouth, the Governor Pritzker is quite possibly gearing up to confiscate weapons. See, here's the thing. Pritzker wanted to use the Emergency Act in order to justify taking away your guns. And he was going to use anything that he deemed necessary to do that. Another school shooting is going to take away your guns. That's why he wanted you to report your guns. That's what that whole, gun registration thing was all about. It wasn't for any other reason than he wanted to confiscate your guns. First comes registration, then comes confiscation, then comes elimination. I mean, that's how it works. That's how it's worked in history, throughout all of history. This is recorded. This is how it's done. He wanted to take your guns. Well, gee, unfortunately, less than 1% of all FOID card holders registered their weapons, registered anything that they wanted you to register. They did that because they wanted an excuse. They wanted an up-to-date record of where the guns were at, so that this way, when the time comes that Pritzker was ready to take them, he knew where they were at. And if you register your weapons now, you're a freaking idiot, because you are very loud and clearly telling the government, telling the Illinois government that, oh yeah, by the way, I broke the law. Come get my gun first whenever you come and get them. Josh Lompress put in here and says, we shall not comply. And why should we? Just like Texas, down at that border, we have the Constitution on our side. What's that say again? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's pretty clear, right? And as far as I am concerned, and as far as our founding fathers was concerned, if that meant that we had a machine gun that automatically teleported refrigerators downrange, then that meant that's what we get. Magically teleported refrigerators downrange. Yeah. You see, our founding fathers did not see any distinction between civilian and military. He saw them as equal. He saw them as the same. There was a point in time in our history not that long ago whenever the Supreme Court felt the same way. Do you forget why it's illegal to own a shot-off shotgun? It's not because that they can do more damage. It's because, and the wording of this is clear, that this is not a modification that is currently being used by the military, therefore civilians can't own it. Gee, what does that mean? If it's used by the military, that means it can be used by me. That's what that means. That's the reverse side of that coin, right? Read the ruling. That's what it says. They keep trying to pass things for Adolf Bashir down here to take ours. Please try. See, that's the thing. I don't want them to try. I really don't. You know, with these red flag laws, you know, with the whole swatting thing. Look, people have died from this. It really has. And I'm almost surprised. You know, I mean, look, I get it. You know, but people have died from this. Red flag laws has already killed people. And a red flag law, I mean, it's one of the things that if you don't like your neighbor, you don't have to do, you know, there's no, the Constitution's dead, right? You know, if you call the cops about your neighbor, all you have to say is, you know, something fishy, you know, there's something fishy happening. And they can show up 10 minutes later with SWAT, bust your door down, and take you into custody. It can't be stopped, my friend. I wish that there was enough of the American populace awake to make a difference. You and me both. It's too late for anyone but God himself to reverse. And, you know, the sad thing is, yeah. Like, it's gone. Let me finish this thought first. Okay. With red flag laws, how they are now, it just takes a neighbor to say, blah, blah, blah. Cops show up, SWAT, bust your door down, take into custody. No freedom whatsoever. No warrant was issued. No nothing. No surveillance, no warrant, no investigation, no nothing. They showed up, and now they can investigate anything because now they have probable cause. People have already died from this. Do you hear what I'm saying? They knowingly and willingly violated the Constitution to break in your house just because a neighbor doesn't like you. Swatting. Somebody didn't like you. People have died. Where's the uproar? You don't see it. The January 6th pipe bomb. Where's the uproar? You don't see it. Like, if I'm being perfectly honest with people, that I truly, it's like, I don't see a way back from this. You know, you can vote your way into socialism. You have to fight your way back out of it. History is quite clear on that. That's how it has happened everywhere, all throughout history, in dealing with communism, socialism, whatever. You can vote your way in, you got to fight your way out. I mean, I honestly hope we're not past the point of no return, but I don't see how we get out of this. The left have too much power. Okay, look, the states made the federal government. The federal government did not make the states. Do you truly think that the states is going to create an entity, as in the federal government, that has more power than them? No, that's not how this happens. That makes no sense whatsoever. That's why the Constitution is a document that puts limitations on the federal government, giving them 18 enumerated powers, and that is it. But we, the people, if you read the Ninth Amendment, the Bill of Rights does not mention all of our freedoms. There's more freedoms that we have that is not in the Bill of Rights. That's what the Ninth Amendment states. What's the 10th Amendment state? The 10th Amendment says that all power is not delegated to the federal government or prohibited to the states, belong to the states and the people. I don't see how we get back from this. Just being honest. I just don't. I just don't. So that's really all I got for y'all today. That is it. So before I take off, however, we got a little bit of housekeeping to talk about. So as some of you are aware, over on Spreaker, that is my podcast hosting platform, they are doing away with the live feature. That's not affected me as of yet, thankfully. Alex Exum of the Exum Experience, that's definitely affected him. He was shut down like, 2 or 3 weeks ago? I forget, how long ago that was. But it's not affected me yet. I'm assuming that it'll hit me come the next update. That's what my assumption is. Next update, it'll hit me. As of yet, it has not. So with that being said, and the thing is, I get it, that apparently the live option on Spreaker, there's not enough people that use it for them to justify the, continual maintenance and the upkeep of it. I get it. It's a business thing for them. I get it. I'm not going anywhere on Spreaker. I'm not going anywhere. I'm established over there, and one of the things that's awesome about Spreaker is they will distribute your podcast everywhere. Your RSS feed, they'll distribute it everywhere. That's why there are so many locations that the podcast is available on, is because they make that as seamless as possible. And it's just, I have no reason to really go anywhere else. I really don't, especially considering how much Spreaker has changed their pricing and what they do, because before it was a time restriction on your various subscription levels. Now that's gone away with. And really the only difference between one paid subscription and the other is your type and length of analytics. And that's it. All of the paid subscriptions have unlimited podcasts, unlimited episodes. All of them have the same. You had time restrictions on each and every one of them. Now they removed that. And now that they're doing away with the live, there's one less separation between the different subscription levels. There you go. But I kind of dig the whole live aspect. I really do. I like it. So one of the things I'm looking at doing, and, I've got, 4 different podcasts that I do. Another member of Weaponized Sloth Productions, Brandon Gatton, who is host of the Machine Radio Show. This is something that we got together with a few other content creators and, people that were going to be joining and getting involved with Weaponized Sloth Productions, and put together our own internet radio station. And that we had that for a while. In fact, I still have the domain, WSPFM.com, I believe is the name of the domain. I don't have that one. Right? I still have the domain, but that's all All right, Linda put in there so I can go longer than 30 minutes. Now, I believe so. If you have, because like, okay, you know what? Let me just actually go on Spreaker real quick and get into pricing because, hey, that's the thing. I'm looking real quick, looking for you real quick. I'm scrolling on down. Plans and pricing. So the free speech, which is free, gives you 6 months statistics. You have one podcast, but unlimited episodes. It doesn't say anything about a time or a length restriction of each episode. It's not mentioned in here. Broadcaster says unlimited podcasts, unlimited episodes. No mention of a limit on episode length. Same thing with Anchorman, same thing with Publisher. They got a free, and then they got 3 paid subscription tiers. And the only difference in them right now is your statistics and your length of statistics. The Broadcaster has 12 months of statistics. That's a hard word for me to say. And advanced statistics, Anchorman has 12-month advanced or full statistics, and then Publisher has 24 months and full stats. Stats, that's way easier for me to say. But nowhere in here does it say anything about a length of each individual podcast. So as far as I know, you might be able to go longer than 30 minutes. Nothing in here says anything else. So, but that's what it amounts to. Spreaker is doing away with the live, but I like the live. Brandon and I tried to do this before, just kind of, fell through after the fact. But given this recent change to Spreaker, I am thinking that it is time to revisit this whole internet radio thing. I'm thinking I like that idea. I'm going to do it. Already making steps to make that a reality. Getting together everything. One of the things I am looking for, one of the things I am wanting to do, because I don't want this to be an echo chamber. I don't want this to be, it's going to be 24/7 programming. I'm wanting to have, talk show hosts into this. I don't want just, single echo chamber thing. I want this to be, not just, conservative talk. I would like to get even some, liberal people, liberal talk shows involved in this as well. Story time, just whatever, entertainment, education even. I want this to encompass a lot. I really do. I want this to encompass more than just talk show. All right. Even incorporating music. Why not? Everybody loves music, so licensed music, there you go. That's one of the things, again, that I'm looking at doing. But I'm looking for partners. Not financially. I'm looking for people that want to get involved in this. This isn't about the money. I'm not looking for people to, pay to gain access. I'm looking for people that would want to get involved, either donate their content or be a live DJ and do a live show. People that would want to get involved, just let me know. Send me an email, hoho@thehohoshow.com. I'm wanting to get this up within the next month. I'm wanting to get this pretty well going. Internet radio. Brandon and I, along with whomever else would want to get involved in with an internet radio station. And, there's people, there's places out there that you can send a radio station to. This is one of them things I looked into a while back ago. Linda said that she's an independent who has her own music. Awesome. Fantastic. But yes, that's, looking for people that would want to get involved in with an internet radio station, for, content. There's going to be a listen live. There is going to be a chat live feature in there. I'm excited about it. I really am. Oh, Linda put in her show. She's written some funny commercials too. That's fantastic. So, but yes, if this is something you would like to get involved in with the ground floor, again, this isn't a money-making thing. I ain't doing this to make money. I'm just doing this to get content out there and to have fun with it. I'm not going to be charging people that, would want to get involved in any type of a fee for coming on board. It's just going to be hey, if you want to get involved, let me know via email. If for some reason you want to be disconnected from the radio show, from the radio station, let me know via email. You can send those emails to hoho@thehohoshow.com. And as soon as I get the website back up and going, thehohoshow.com, because right now I have completely broke the freaking thing. However, Rebrandly works. So like now if you head on over to hohostudios.com, that'll take you to where it is, and everything is revamped right now. I still have some finishing touches to put onto it, but from there, you can click on that tab for thehohoshow.com. It'll take you to it, and all of those links on the page does work. In fact, I'll just show it to you real quick now for those of you that are on the video side. Ho Studios. There you go. There it is. Do-do. There it is. If you click on the link, the Ho-Ho Show, that takes you to the new, this is what will be the hohoshow.com when it actually gets up and live. But all these links for the social media, the resources links, the support the show link, the video platforms links, all those links do work. If you always remember last week, I said that I broke all those. I fixed them. However, I still don't have the hohoshow.com working correctly. That's why you got to go the roundabout way. Those I'm hoping to get working on Monday. I have to call GoDaddy and get that done. I don't like going on the phone and talking to these people. I don't like doing that. They always want something. I don't like that. People are needy. I don't want to. But I'll have access to all that and whatnot. So let me know if you're interested in getting involved. And like I said last week, I have some people in mind that I'm wanting to get in on this. And you don't know who you are right now, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I got some people that I'm looking to get involved in this and talking to about this. I ain't done it yet, but I'm looking to do that. And I'm hoping to have this up and running, at least a good part of it, or at least well on the way by the end of next month. So by the end of February, I'm looking to have this up and running and going. Live chat, live shows, a lot of pre-recorded content, even some music, the whole 9 yards. I'm looking to get this up and going before the end of next month. If you want to get involved, let me know. If you let me know to what level you want to get involved. If you want to donate money, you can do that too. I'm not asking for donations. I'm not asking for the people that get involved to do this, but I'm rearranging some things to free up a little bit of money to make the impact of doing this a little less. It is going to cost some money, but it is a labor of love. That's what podcasting is, right? It's a labor of love. It truly is. I mean, because there's not a lot of money to be made in it. Unless you get like Joe Rogan, type big, unless you get, Dan Bongino big, unless you get Ben Shapiro big, there's not a lot of money to be made in it. It's a labor of love, but you know what? It's worth it. It really is. Spending time with y'all's, people getting involved, just everything. It's worth it. It keeps me connected. It keeps me honest. It keeps me plugged in. It keeps me in the know. And it's fun to sit here and talk with y'all too. It really is. So that's all I got for y'all today. That is it. You can check out what little is on the magazine by going to thehohoshow.com. When it starts to work, click on the newsfeed tab. you'll see my magazine on Flipboard. That'll take you right to it. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all today. I have to squid. There we go. All right. Until next time, have a good one. This has been The Ho Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpikle.com. Until next time.